Where does power come from? Is it a mineral resource inside your head? Is it a worm that crawled into your mind, imposing its will on you? Or is it just something that people are born with? Of course not, listener. As with so many things, power is derived from an imbalance of the humors. If you're feeling too powerful, you might want to insert a spigot into your head to drain all that black bile. And if you're feeling powerless, you could try to siphon that black bile from super powerful corpses like Otto von Bismarck or Charles Manson. You should be brimming with new and possibly dangerous power in no time. I've got a story submission here about my favorite animal, humans. Let's begin. I know you. I know you very well, in fact. And so, with it being as such, I don't see a point in formality or niceties. Points are for pines either way, and the pines were all the eyes could see. The cold, cold man was Francis, a name took from his father. The junior was long gone. Ain't nothing junior about me, he once said, and he never said it again. Peculiar things were in those woods, the woods that surrounded the small house with thin walls like enemy cavalry. Pines as far as the eye could see. January's second day in the year of God was the day Francis lost his wife, and never after did he come right. Truly right, that is. He was there, in all but spirit. From the day Clara was laid to rest in the family plot, until the end of time and the world around him, Francis lost the color of his eyes. The dark blue burst from his pupils and seeped under his eyes. They pooled and made of his face sorrow. Francis had children. Old children as they were, Isabella in her 11th year and the boy Thomas stood a good handful of feet in the air in this, his 16th year. They're good people, humble people. I know them. I come to know most everyone at some point or another. And know them not many did. They lived far, very far. Most folk who travel far rarely stay there for long. Anyone should know that. I knew them, and I knew their troubles too. I know them, yes, but I know the pines too. I know what lurks deep inside, when the air is sickly sweet with the smell of sap, and through cracks creeps the bark of the pines, and much like so many things, most everything, it is soul-wrenching terror. A demon forest bed lay there, and on it lay the wolves. Crowned with wrathful vines and flowers they rest, lying in wait for a sniffle of weakness they do. You too should keep to yourself your intoxicating stench of fear, lest their ears jut and eyes widen. Their teeth baring and yellow will sniff you out and feast. You may sit, you may ponder, and watch the seasons roll over them, but they'll be there. They always are. Francis believed in the Lord, as many do, but only in his bones. His flesh, his eyes and organs felt bereft. Take a stick, for example, like this one. This is faith, strong, resilient. You could ward off evil with this here faith. Do you see this knife? It's misery, misfortune, tragedy. Someone took misery, misfortune, and tragedy to Francis's stick and whittled it until it was weak. Until you could snap it with your fingers. And that's someone who did all this. I reckon his name is something we can't hope to know, but he's a bastard, and he's up there. August's 22nd day marked the day Isabella's cough began. I personally cannot stand to see a child in pain, but as things are, I couldn't rightly avert myself. It was persistent. It was deep in her lungs. made them rattle each time she drew breath, made them whistle each time she coughed crimson blood and dark green spots into her small hands. It was horrible indeed. Francis and Thomas came to know, as I do, that the true pain made it sting in their soul each time it seemed the sickness was waning, only to spring back stronger, bearing yellow, gnarled teeth. On September 3rd, Thomas was gone from his bed. Francis made warm the tea for his daughter and set to find the boy. "I'll be back in a jiffy, you hear?" That's what he told her. And set out he did. The wild wind was ferocious, biting his arms and legs and seeping itself into his starchy woolen shirt. The roaring sun sprang from the glistening snow, and although painful on the eyes, such heavenfall makes deer, wolves, and men track themselves. Thomas was a sorry sight, unfit for even eyes as sore as ours. 2 hours of the day away, huddled and freezing, covered in dirt, and clothes made stiff from piss and liquor. Tucked under the pine is where he was found, and a barrage of fine-toothed words dragged him out from under it. Unbeknownst to Francis, his boy had been taking for himself a drop of whiskey here, a drop of rum there, and here and there he had gone for weeks. The boy could barely walk the 2 hours home. As their tired, cold feet shuffled to the small, lonely house, it was as if the house itself grew eyes, and a throat with which to growl and swallow. He was only gone in a jiffy, and a jiffy was all it took. In a jiffy he'd found his boy, and in that same jiffy he lost Isabella. The doctor made a declaration, and on that declaration he declared that the girl passed naturally. If I personally was to declare a declaration, it would be to keep away the wolves. The wolves came and did this. Things, like so many things, worsened. On September's 15th day, there was scarcely enough liquor for either of the broken, lonely men. When Francis's eyes met with the boy's, all he could see were wolven eyes, and his hair did raise. Things got colder, as they tend to do. They scarcely left their rooms. These small enclosures became their domiciles, their pens in the grand zoo of the cosmos. Francis's ears began to jut. Between sobbing and gibbering, Thomas found respite only in his own sinful, furious masturbation. At times, not even such ways could stifle his tears, and the sound was getting to Francis and his jutting ears. Peeping with his yellow eyes, he saw them through the small spaces between the window boards. He saw the wolves and their glowing eyes shuffling at the rim of the pines. They saw him, and he knew they could smell him as well. "Go back, ye devils. I want nothing from you or your sore eyes." But it was too late. They were in the house. They were in the house, and he could hear them snarling, their mighty throats undulating, their teeth sharpened and glowing bright green under the new moon. They were everywhere. It wasn't possible, but he heard her. He heard the screams of his baby daughter, being torn and shook by the violent beasts. He heard the bones gnashed between horrible jaws as he loaded with shaking hands the chamber of his shotgun. The click of the action was drowned out by the all-encompassing katzenjammer, as was the door he did break. And there it was, panting on all fours on the ground, slippery with sweat and dripping with guilt. In his eyes, Francis saw only the wolves and their maws, and in his maw he saw only death. He pulled the trigger, as folk often do, and as he did, all became quiet. It was still. The wolves in their cacophony were but smoke in the first barrel of Francis's shotgun. There it was, dead. The wolf that took his sweet daughter, the wolf that ate his strong boy. The house that Clara's husband built was brimming with dark. Sorrow was seeping through to the outside. The walls were speckled with blood, semen, and liquor. And as he wrapped his yellow teeth around the warm barrel, as he inhaled the savory smoke, I know one thing alone, that no better than this, the emptiest, coldest house, brimming with piping blood and smoke, is there in this world to keep away the wolves. You know, listener, they say a person's favorite animal says a lot about them. Bird people are bird-like, dog people are doggish, and people are people. I guess I'm a human person. That was, without any sliver of doubt, a sad tale. We should all keep away the wolves, even if they are just smoke inside our heads. That much is for certain. Something interesting has happened, listener. Someone somewhere named Colleen sent us a letter. She's 36, and the letter reads, Dear Coda, and I'm sorry to interrupt here, but I have to apologize. Coda is in the shop as of right now, but she'll be back soon enough. Dear Coda, I've been a fan of the show for a while now, and I have to ask about your co-host. They seem pointless, inexperienced, and worst of all, goofy. Moreover, it seems that every other episode or so they get horribly maimed or vaporized on air, which doesn't make for good continuity or airtime. As a compromise, please host more of these broadcasts in lieu of your co-host. Sincerely, Colleen. I think you're confused, Colleen, because Coda doesn't have a co-host. It's just me and her here in the studio. I don't blame you, this is a topsy-turvy show, and it can be hard sometimes to know which reality I'm in. If ever we do hire a co-host for Coda, we'll let them know how you feel, but until then I'll have to file this one under non-applicable input. I think that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank you for listening to Ministerium Miskatonic Radio, and thank you for staying sane in these increasingly mad times. Remember to be good, remember to be, and remember to keep away the wolves. Should you fail, come seek comfort in the halls of Ministerium Miskatonic. Thank you.